The NFL trade deadline is 2 weeks away, and teams are testing the waters on improving their teams. Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones said that his team is, quote, open for business, but he's willing to take things slow and wait for calls to come to him. Let's bring in our Ryan Wilson with 5 trades that the 3-1 Cowboys need to make before the deadline, and it's 5-1, not loosely in terms of any priority importance here, but let's start with 5 here, R-Dub and Jerome Ford.
Hey, Tommy, good to see you. Yeah, so let's start on the offensive side of the ball. And as you sort of noted, this is in loose order. Not a lot of needs offensively, but I went with Jerome Ford, the running back, currently on the Cleveland Browns. They have 2 rookies in Cleveland that are playing pretty well at the running back positions, particularly Quinshon Judkins. Javonte Williams, in his own right, is doing quite well for the Dallas Cowboys in recent weeks, but there's not much depth behind him. Jaden Blue is finally healthy. They're a rookie, and I think Jerome Ford comes in right away and at least gives you a plan B to give Javonte Williams a break with Miles Sanders on IR. Again, not a lot of needs offensively, Tommy, especially with CD back in the mix, but a little help in the running back room by the way of Jerome Ford.
Okay, so a little bit of depth there, as you mentioned, with Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue. What about Demario Davis at number 4?
Yeah, so linebacker has been a revolving door of needs for Dallas. And, in fact, the defense, we can certainly talk about that for the rest of this segment. Demario Davis is a veteran, and I say that in the nicest way possible. He's not a spring chicken, but he is still playing at a high level, and he also plays for a team in New Orleans that could be interested in moving him. Dallas, meanwhile, has been banged up at this position. DeMar being overshown. The window's open on his 21-day return coming off IR. He has battled knee injuries twice now early in his career, so he hasn't played. Kenneth Murray has been okay as a veteran, but again, there's need there for upgrade. Demario Davis comes over, and he's going to be an immediate contributor and play a ton of snaps defensively for the Cowboys.
If we move on to number 3, you've got a couple of names, more of a positional need. It's interesting because we had Lige Douzable with me yesterday who brought up Tyreek Woolen. You're also adding Jeremy Chinn in there. So what is it about Reek and Jeremy that could certainly help Dallas at this point?
So Rick Woolen, and I'm sure Lige probably said something similar, long, physical, athletic, ball skills cornerback who hasn't quite played up to the level of his rookie season when he was considered a steal as a former day 3 pick. He's struggled a lot this year, not just putting it politely. That said, sometimes you change scenery, good things can happen to you. Just ask his current teammate Sam Darnold about that. And again, huge needs in the secondary for the Dallas Cowboys, both outside at cornerback, where Rick Woolen would fit in, and then Jeremy Chinn, who you mentioned, who just signed a 2-year deal with the Raiders this offseason. Given the way the Raiders' season is going, they might be willing to move on for some players. And the great thing about Jeremy Chinn is his versatility. He can play in the box. He can play free safety. He can play some slot. Better coming downhill than playing in space. But these are all needs for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, we're talking mostly defense, Tommy, because unless, and this could be a realistic possibility, Dak Prescott is going to score 44 points a game, they're going to have to shore up this defense and do it quickly over the next 2 weeks.
All right, getting down to number 2, it's interesting. You're targeting a team that might sell in the Saints, much like perhaps the Jets. Give me a second Saint so far that we have here in our conversation.
Yeah, maybe Demario Davis and Carl Granderson could carpool over from New Orleans to Dallas. The edge rusher, drafted originally out of Wyoming, he's just 27 years old. He plays at a high level. We don't talk a lot about him for whatever reason, maybe because he plays on a team that's struggling right now. Has 5 sacks, and as I mentioned, just signed a deal a few years ago because he earned that deal. And more importantly for the Cowboys, you get some help off the edge. We know that Micah Parsons is no longer in Dallas and just had a huge weekend against the Cardinals for the Green Bay Packers. And Dallas is holding it together with duct tape and chicken wire at this point, Tommy. But they have to get some pressure off the edge and perhaps some pressure on the interior of the defensive line as well. We can talk about that, too.
Yeah, and at number 1, you do have Jeffery Simmons, which, by the way, I think at last check, the Titans says he is not available. But you never know 2 weeks out here. If that were to come to fruition, what type of fit would he be in Big D?
Yeah, this is a let's go nuts trade scenario, something that only Jerry Jones could conjure. You talk about the Titans aren't interested in moving him, nor should they be. He also suffered a hamstring injury on Sunday, so his availability might be a few weeks out from where we currently sit. They do have that extra first-round pick, Tommy, the Cowboys do from the Packers in that Micah trade. I don't know if you want to use that on Jeffery Simmons, but Jerry has done crazier things, and he is an immediate impact player when healthy. And then you put him next to Kenny Clark, and then suddenly everything else is less important in terms of the linebacker play and the secondary play because there's so much pressure created with those two players in the middle of that defense. And I should point out that rookie Donovan Ezaraku, the edge rusher out of BC, is flashing a little bit. So while there are needs outside and inside, Jeffery Simmons is, you put that in the pipe dream category, but not out of the realm of possibility when Jerry Jones is involved in any negotiations.
That's Ryan Wilson with 5 trades the Cowboys need to make as we stand 2 weeks out. Thank you, R-Dub. There it is in no particular order, although Simmons is the one perhaps most unlikely and the best fit. But there it is. One offensive player, the rest on, of course, a defensive side of the ball that needs improving at Jerry World. That'll do it for this hour, CBS Sports HQ. Folks, if you missed anything, we had a full house in here today for the NFL, fantasy, and the NBA's back tonight. If there's anything else, we'll bring it to you right here on HQ.